Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Sounds of the Soul podcast. We have as our very special guest and someone who is so near and dear to my heart, Fernanda with Lightworker 613. She is such a she, she is such a powerful
Just hands. Sorry.
such a powerful. Oh, I love that. And so playful and fun and so powerful in her energy and her beingness. And she is an amazing multidimensional channel. She channels the Ascended Masters, the Galactics, the Archangels. Oh, it gives me chills. I feel them all like, whoop, we're here. We're here to party. And so many beings, so many Christ consciousness beings. And I feel so grateful, Fernanda, that you're here today. So, do you want to share? Let's start with how people can find you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here with you and this beautiful space and the sacred space that you're creating for yourself and for others. And I feel so excited for this project, that you just shared with me about. And I feel very excited to be here. So thank you very much. And yeah, so you can find me at lightworker613.com and Lightworker613 on Patreon and all the social media. And I believe next month we are channeling Saint Germain. So for February, for whoever is listening to this, I don't know when people are going to listen to this. So February 2025, we are channeling Saint Germain. And so far, he's very quiet, but I'll figure out soon what his theme is, what he wants. So it's always different. And I believe you feel that too. Working with different beings, everyone has their own signature, everyone has their own purpose and their own agendas, even sometimes. So I'm still waiting to hear more from Saint Germain. But he was the first one that raised his hand, and I had a feeling that he was going to win the poll that we do on Patreon. So, yeah, I don't know exactly dates for new events, but next month we're definitely doing at least 2 channelings with him and many other things over on Patreon and some other stuff free as well on Discord and YouTube.
I love that. Yeah, your Patreon. Oh my God, I could go on and on about your Patreon and all the classes that you have there because it's been highly transformational in my life. And it's along with what you share, which is so powerful, it is the group, it is the beings there, and that unconditional love and that acceptance and that support that we have for one another. It's making me emotional already. Already,
Yeah,
surprise.
already. Oh no. We can't start yet.
Oh, and it's just priceless. It's so priceless. Having that soul family that really where they speak the language of your heart and to feel seen and understood, because I feel like for a lot of us, that's the first time that we've really experienced that and on such a profound and deep level. And I'm so grateful for you because it takes a lot of courage to step up into that leadership role. And you really, like, your story is amazing. And you really stepped into that role and attracted us to you. And Saint Germain, I love that he's going to be speaking in February. And I remember you talking about how for the golden age, he is going to be kind of like the point man, for lack of a better word, of kind of overseeing the golden age, how it was Yeshua back in the age of Pisces. Do I have that
Yeah.
correct? Beautiful. And I love that you mentioned how all these beings have such a diverse perspective too, because Yeshua was just telling me that this morning. And that's something I know we talk about a lot in our family is how valuable it is when we all bring in these unique expressions, these unique frequencies, our unique passions and dreams and goals, whatever that may be, and how that creates this beautiful harmony when we all come together as a group. And I mean, like we say, it would be so boring otherwise. So I love the diversity of the beings that you bring through and the diversity of the universe at large. I mean, it's so beautiful, this game that we created, and so fun to play and express in because it's so vast, the infinite ways that we can express and flow through reality. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I absolutely love, and I think it's one of the markers of this planet, especially. We are so diverse and we all come with different ideas of what we want to create. And I think that's beautiful, like you said, observing that in a scale of the universe, and especially observing that in the scale of planet Earth. It's just amazing how different we can be and still share the same core. So I absolutely love that. And I've felt that a lot with the beings that I channel, this reverence that they have for Earth and for humans, and how special they feel like life on Earth is. And it's interesting that Yeshua was talking to you about this. I was just talking to him about that as well, the diversity and how important it is that we, allow diversity to thrive and allow respect within our diversity, and in moments, especially when people want to create ideas of separation, how important it is for us to remember, right? How connected we are, how valuable this distinct individual experience is, and at the same time that we are again one. So it's just like, where else could we create this? Many places in the universe, but let's not go there. But we chose Earth, and I love that for us.
Yeah, me too. That was so beautiful. That was perfectly expressed and so powerful. And yeah, I feel like, I mean, obviously we're here for a reason and we're so wise in choosing this incarnation and this point of expression. And I feel like Earth is like the place to be now. I mean, I feel like the evolution of consciousness that is going on Earth, it's not happening anywhere else in the galaxy. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
there's beings from other dimensions, other planets that are just in awe of what we're creating here and supporting us in so many beautiful ways. It's like a big, beautiful family. I've never felt more supported than I do lately, just really in a place of surrendering and really trusting the divine. That's been really quite a journey for me. And oh my God, when I feel into that energy, it feels like that Yeshua energy to me in a way where it's just like that warm blanket and I just feel so safe and held. And it's like my mind doesn't need to figure out anything. I can just like let the universe guide me and be in that place of surrender. And it is such a empowered place to be. And it's just like ease. It's just this ease that I feel. Have you been experiencing that too? Because I know a lot of times we experience these same energies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I completely agree. I feel not just that ease, but a lot of hope, And I I agree with what you said. This is the place to be right now. And it's like we got to buy the ticket, to be on Earth right now. It's like we were in the line and then we're like, oh my God, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna go? And because sometimes I think people have a very disempowering idea about being a human and incarnating on the planet, and I disagree with that perspective 100%. I don't think we're here to suffer. I don't think we're here to, we are here to learn and to help and to evolve, but I don't believe that this is a place that we come, not any longer. It's such a gift to be on Earth. And I feel that, and I feel that in this hope, for humanity and for the path that we are on right now. And that ease and that surrender as well, when we observe things and you can look at them with compassion and divine understanding in a way, divine wisdom, and be less reactive. So I've been experiencing that as well, what you were saying, that everything is good and I feel supported and taken care of. So I agree 100%.
I love that for you. Yeah, that's so powerful. And I feel like you've really been this embodiment. Like when I look to you, you've been such an embodiment of divine trust with your channel because I mean, you bring this divine wisdom through, and then you trust so deeply the guidance you're receiving and the wisdom that you are channeling, and yourself, your own energy, because it's really all your energy too, in a way. And to follow that energy and surrender to it really requires that deep trust. And I really want to acknowledge you for that trust that you have in yourself, in your channel, and the beings that you're channeling, in life on earth, just all of it. It's so beautiful. And I love what you said about you were kind of tying together compassion and understanding, because I feel like those two things go hand in hand. I feel like
Yeah.
compassion is that instant manifestation of understanding. And it's just like when we see really through anybody's eyes, or when we know their story, and again, our story isn't the truth of who we are. It's important. I mean, it matters, or else we wouldn't have created it. But it's how part of how we're expressing on earth, and it's so beautiful, and we can honor and really cherish and embrace that. But again, it's this passing story. It's not really the truth of who we are. But if we were to hear anybody's story and really understand where they were coming from more deeply, I think for every single person on the planet, we would have that compassion for them.
It's something that Yeshua taught me early on, as soon as I identified that I was channeling him. One thing that I say to people all the time, and he helped me so much, is that everybody is doing the best they can with what they have and what they understand about their truth, their human truth. And when he told me that, I was like, really? Because sometimes, really? Are you sure? Could you check again? And then you get out of that. It is for me one expression of victimhood, right? That you want to believe that people are bad, and that you want to believe that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? That is not justified, etc. And he really helped me with that surrendering and that returning to that place within me that is compassionate, even when it is really hard to understand. I think you can still find that I am you and you are me. So I can look through your eyes. And even if I will never agree with what you're doing, with what you're saying, with your behaviors, with your thoughts, with your beliefs, I can still acknowledge that you are God, just as I am God, just as Yeshua is God. So we can all respect each other's in our differences and co-create a healthier life, on the planet. And it has to start with somebody, and sometimes when you have that awareness, I believe that it is up to us to start to pull the cord, to hold the torch, as Yeshua himself says. I will hold the torch for you for as long as you need me to. That's another thing that he would tell me, and that he's told people many times, the torch of compassion, the torch of love, the torch of oneness. So I think that sometimes when we have the awareness, when we have that divine understanding, at some point it becomes a part of our responsibility, as beings. And that's why I trust, because of that oneness that I feel with people, because of seeing God in someone else. So who am I to deny, the guidance that is coming in? I feel like I'm a messenger of it, so I can't turn it down. I can't not believe. Someone has to. So it has to start with me.
Fernanda, I absolutely love everything that every word you just said resonates so deeply. I love that so much. And that resonates so much with my journey. That was one of the things that I don't know if it came from Yeshua in the beginning, but it was that same thing that everybody is doing the best they can. And it tied in with what Yeshua, I didn't realize I was channeling him at the time, but looking back, it was totally Yeshua. And it was something that he said in the Bible, which again, I'm not a religious person. I feel like the Bible does have some beautiful truths in it though. And it's that forgive them for they know not what they do. And I feel like
Yeah.
that kind of along the same lines. And that really helped me really come into a deeper acceptance and come out of that victimhood and more into my power. And oh my goodness, I love what you said, because that's exactly how I feel. And even if I didn't feel that way, I think I would still love what you said because it's so beautiful. But yeah, for me, it's seeing through the illusion of how people may be presenting themselves and whatever role they may be playing in that particular moment, and seeing the truth of their being, which is that divinity, which is God, and really honoring that and feeling into that oneness and knowing that love is the truth of who they are, and really seeing that, because I feel like when we see that within ourselves, the more deeply we come into that love and compassion for ourselves and embody that frequency, the more we're able to radiate that to others and really offer others that deep love and compassion and reverence too. And Oh my goodness, self-love is such I mean, we talk about that a lot. You've really shared that a lot in your Patreon about self-love being the pillar of alchemy and how it's the foundation for so many things that we create in our reality. And it's been such an expansive journey for me, and I'm sure you can relate to that too, how powerful self-love
Absolutely.
is, and really the difference it makes in our life when we go from really that lack of love to just allowing, because that love is there. It's there in every moment. It's the true nature of our being. And it's really just releasing whatever barriers that we have to allowing that love to flow through us. And it can be a step-by-step process. I know it was for me. And it's so that's when I feel the most at home. And that's really what Yeshua brought through. That was that pillar that he held up for me in the beginning. Because when I first started channeling him, that's what it felt like, was pure love and acceptance and really coming home. That was the first time I really felt at home on earth with another being in that way. And there were just, I mean, tears just streaming down my face. I'm so grateful for Yeshua and really the role that he plays in our group, and for so many Magdalenas and so many people on the planet. He's such a powerful being. What do you think is one of the most pivotal steps or practices that people can take on their journey to really allowing this love for self and really embodying that divine love for themselves and then radiating that out to others?
I think it's in the small things much more than the big moments, the big creations. I think it's in the day to day. It's the small things you can do for yourself to show that I am here, I'm present with you, and I accept you as you are. Because I think that a lot of lack of self-love is because you cannot really accept every aspect of yourself, of who you are and how you feel and what you think and how you behave. And of course, that I believe there are certain things that we want to change about ourselves, and we are allowed to. We are in a body. We're here to do that, right? So I want more compassion. I want to feel more compassion. You can create that for yourself. You can manifest anything. So even if it is like something physical you want to change or something emotional you want to change, I think we are entitled to that. We are already alive in a body, right? I used to say that all the time that, and I say that to Yeshua too sometimes, like I really want to live this life as fully as I can because I was already born naked with no hair, with no teeth. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to walk. I had to learn everything. So now that I'm already like a formed human, oh my God, I want to experience life. And I think that experiencing life is accepting every part of who you are, the whatever we call the darkness, whatever we call the light. And I think the practices are in the small day-to-day things, the little tiny things that you do, the things that we say to ourselves, the things that we're thinking about ourselves. I think that creates a ripple effect bigger than anything else. And the next thing I would say is finding a community that supports you, finding a community that mirrors that love back to you, not some community that, for example, can be fulfilling in a way, but it only shows you the traumas that you faced. It's like you're trauma bonding in a place that those people, and again, it's so easy to get attached to a place where you feel seen for all the pain that you felt. But what I mean of a community is that they're holding space for that, they are respecting and honoring that, and yet they're showing you that there's a better place to be. They're showing you, they are empowering you, they are holding your hand when you need your hand held. So it's not like, oh, this community is gaslighting me and will not allow me to express my trauma. No, is that that's not the core of what we connect with, and how we connect with each other. Because I see that, and I see that sometimes people can get lost in that, the lack of distinction between, okay, is this healthy for me or is this not? And that's one thing that I am very proud of our community for. I think that we've created there together a very loving, empowering place where we are so different. We come from all over the world, but yet someone will hold your hand, and they will mirror their love back to you. And I think that finding community, finding connection is a primal human thing that we need. And the more alone we feel, the harder it is to find your footing, to start your journey, to move through life. So when you find, at least like online, if you can't have them in contact all the time in person, people that empower you, that make you remember yourself, remember how powerful I am, remember how strong I am, remember how resilient and how beautiful and how loving and how kind. Even if I can't believe that for myself, I will have this other person mirroring that to me. And I found that that's one of the most powerful and the fastest growth you will find is by interacting with other people. I strongly believe we are not meant to be alone, to be always separated. We are meant to live in community and to help each other, and to, it's like, how many times have we validated each other? Just you and me here, like that we've talked, and you're like, oh my God, feels so validating. And then because we're going through something similar, but we're not trauma bonding, we are seeing the divinity in each other, and we can acknowledge that. And sometimes when you're ready, you can even wake that up in the other person. You're like, oh my God, you're totally right. It's like, if she feels like that, I can too. If she feels good, I can feel good too. So for me, I think that's one of the biggest things that you can implement in your life. You can find a community that makes you feel good about being who you are.
Oh my goodness. That was absolute perfection. I resonated with everything you just said. Oh, and it's funny because I was just thinking about this today that you had channeled the Lemurian mothers before, and their big theme that came through was this share, surrender, and trust, and how that really stood out to our family. And there was more of an openness, I felt, after that message, with people really not only expressing their light, but also expressing their quote unquote darkness. One of the many things that's so beautiful about our family is exactly what you just said. How we hold up this mirror for each other, and we really see each other in our mastery and in our divinity. Despite what anyone is going through, there is this beautiful love and acceptance. And there's so many times where I was seeing what was mirrored back to me was so different than what I was feeling, that I was able to see myself through that lens of how I was being perceived. And especially for people that are so psychically open, I'm very open to that. And I feel
Yeah.
like, especially for people that are so open, it's especially important to be in groups that really see you. And I know that there are times on the spiritual journey, and really on any journey at times, everything is spiritual, but when you're consciously on the spiritual journey, I'll say, where we are in this hermit mode, and that serves this beautiful role because we really come into our own energy and really go on this inner quest, I'll say, of really knowing ourselves more deeply. And when we really come to know our authentic self, I feel is when we really come to attract our soul family and people who align with that frequency. And for me, that's been a big thing, is the more that I align with my true frequency, my true self, the more soul family I attract, and the more people that see me, that are able to find me, because it's like you're sending out that clear signal and people are like, oh, yep, yeah, I see you, where it's like they're on your bandwidth. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And that's one of the most powerful things for me, in like the hermit mode of the spiritual journey that I've been on, because that can be kind of a long process for people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest blessings that's come out of it for me, is really getting to know my authentic self. And then one of the biggest blessings of knowing my authentic self is attracting this beautiful community and people all over the world. It's really amazing how we find each other, because you think how spread out we are all over the world. And thank God for technology that we can find each other in the way that we do. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about authenticity, because that's a theme that I feel like a lot of people are experiencing lately. Is really, I feel like there are so many people on the planet that know themselves more deeply than they ever have and are feeling more free to express that. And I'm interested to hear what you'd like to share about really empowering our authentic self and not only knowing ourselves authentically, but then sharing that with the world, because that can take a lot of courage to really, like, for me, for example, I love talking about the Galactics, and that's like years ago when I would speak about that. It's like people would think that I was like crazy and kind of out there, and it was just a very isolating thing. It took years for me to really speak out about different topics like channeling and speaking out about topics that were not easy to just share with the world. And it took a lot of courage. And it was like step by step, I was kind of building up and feeling more comfortable expressing this. And then, okay, let's express the next thing. And just yesterday, actually, I shared about the Galactics and how I experienced them. And it felt so in alignment. It was so divinely guided. And it felt so freeing. Like, whenever we get together, like when we would have sessions together, that was the thing that like the first thing I wanted to talk about was the galactic experiences. And I saw this craft yesterday, or had this experience with the Pleiadians. And that was so empowering for me because you were the first being that validated what I was seeing and that didn't think I was crazy or out there, because you are so psychically aware, you're so clairvoyant, you would see what I was seeing. And it's not that everybody needs to have those abilities to do that. We can still feel into it and really hold space for whatever anybody is expressing in their passions. But that was really so empowering for me. And I feel like that's another gift of soul family and connection is you can share in that sacred space and be your true self. And then you build up the courage, like we've talked about, to really express in more public ways. And when I did that, I was like, sometimes I'm kind of hesitant to read the comments because you never really know what people are going to say. And like the alien, there can be a lot of like controversy about the galactics and the aliens, and it can kind of bring up different things within people. And that's totally perfect and understandable too. And I can hold compassion for people. But people loved it. They were like, tell me more. And I attracted so many more soul family where you can just feel their frequency. And it's like, yeah, this is soul family coming in. And it was one of those times where I really felt so grateful for following that divine guidance and really trusting the universe and trusting what Yeshua was telling me, that I'm safe. It's safe now. You can fully express who you are, because it's like that alien DNA and having that alien DNA on the planet and expressing that to others, that's been taken in very different ways on Earth. So it did take some courage to really come out and say that. And it was interesting because just last night, the Arcturian craft was closer than it's ever been, other than when I first saw them back in 2016. But it felt to me kind of like this friend or family that like was kind of in hiding before, and they're like, oh, you see us now, like you're telling people about us, like we're like welcomed more to the party now. And it was just such a beautiful confirmation for them to really show themselves more fully. But I know for you too, I was just reflecting on this today too, how the courage that you've had, and because you share about the galactics and you share about sacred sexuality and you talk about so many topics, that the art that you share, I mean, that takes a lot of courage. There's a certain vulnerability to expressing art in that way, and to share about sacred sexuality and to do it in such a powerful and beautiful way. And I would love to hear more about your journey of really embracing your authentic self and how you express that so fully, because I feel like you're such a master of that.
Well, thank you. And first, I would like to say that I am so excited that you are sharing this, that you are letting people see your light like this. Because, of course, I've always seen it since the first time I saw you. I could sense your energy. I'm also super aware, too much sometimes, you know. So it's so beautiful to see this transformation in a way, you know, that you've been through, that I've been, you know, gifted with observing, you know, to see you go through that. It feels like a gift. And I love that for you. And I'm so, so proud of you. And I'm not going to cry. Okay. So But yeah, I feel so proud of you and so excited that you are, finding these people and you're attracting these people. I'm just so happy and so excited. I love that. And I think that this new age that we are creating, it's all about authenticity. And like you said, sometimes it is challenging, to go through that. And I am a very intense person. So my journey is long, so I'll try not to take up too much time sharing this. But sorry.
Oh, just you can take up as much time.
Thank you. So it started for me, like my awakening, exactly because of authenticity. I was not being honest with who I was, what I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to experience and express, and I fell into a deep depression, like to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, you can think. And the thing that brought me out of it was finding out that I was depressed because I was not being honest with who I was. I was depressed because I could not, I didn't feel seen. But how could I feel seen if I was not showing myself? It's like, and then you return to that, like, okay, it's my responsibility then to show myself, So everything, most everything in my life was out of alignment because of that, because I was doing things and pretending basically to be someone that I was not. I was this character and I could not relate with the character anymore. And I could not evolve the character beyond that place, with family, with friends, with work, everything. So I just like, again, I am a very intense person. So for me, and this is something it's on my soul's journey to work on. So for anyone listening, do not recommend, but it's a lot for me is like all or nothing. So I'll jump, you jump, I'll jump. It's like I'll just transform everything. So I left my work. I stopped talking to all the friends that did not feel in alignment. I started just radically accepting who I was and being myself. And I'll say that it was radically, of course it was, but I was so scared. It was so, it's nerve-wracking. It's really stressful to do that because you don't know who is going to allow you to be you, right? It's like you love people, but you don't know if they love who you truly are. They love that version of you that you created and that they created in their head. It doesn't mean that they will love who you are authentically. So I was like, well, it can't really get any worse than what it is right now. And it's not worth, my life to not be myself. So I will just start doing it. And that's when I had the biggest awakening moment. And I started remembering how psychic I've always been. I was always the witch of the group, always the person giving all the crazy, quote unquote, crazy perspectives to people, but I was quiet and I was hidden, when I was doing that. I always had a pretense, in front of me, like, oh, I read about this, but what I was reading is someone's energy, So I saw this in this movie, and I was talking about the aliens that I was seeing. So I stopped hiding. I stopped not doing it because I couldn't anymore. I was slowly losing the will to live. And I know those are very strong words. And again, do not recommend being this if you can avoid being this intense, but that's just what my soul needs at this time too. So it's a personal thing. So I just started, it's like it's fine. And I'm very grateful that people like Flavia was already in my life when this awakening happened, and it happened for her as well at the same time, because of course, and she kept loving me, we kept being friends, we kept growing together, and my family as well, my sisters, my mom, my dad. So it was, of course, that my dad still doesn't fully understand what I do for a living, but it's totally okay because that's his journey. But my mom fully understands and supports and everything. So I had a completely different career. I was an English teacher and a singer in Brazil. And I hated everything about everything that I was doing. So I just packed my bags, I sold all of my belongings, and I moved across the world, to find something else, to find like a calling. I was feeling this calling to be here, to be in Europe. There was something for me to live here. There was an energy that I needed here that I was not getting there. There was a part of my true self that needed to experience that. So again, I just jumped. So that's when I started connecting with, okay, so this being that I'm seeing, these things that are happening, that's Yeshua talking to me. And I grew up Catholic, so it was a shock to say the least. I spent around a year and a half to 2 years channeling him, only looking at his feet. I would not allow myself to look him in the eyes because I did not feel I was deserving to look him in the eye. And I did not feel like I was deserving of his love either. And you know how he loves. He doesn't
Oh,
have to love anything, right?
no, he's
He will
good.
just shower you. It's a tsunami of love, right? I felt like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. You can't love me like this. And he taught me a lot about loving myself and accepting myself. And again, I've been in such a low that everything after that felt like not as hard of a jump. It's like, you know what? Yes, you want me to start sharing your messages on the internet? I'll do that. You want me to go and call people up? It's like, okay, Jesus has a message for you. I'm like, oh, please don't make me do it. And then I would. So it's again, I'm a very intense person. So everything for me has happened in a very intense manner. And things just started coming out. But even so, after I started this journey of I'll channel, I'll be my true witchy self. Even during this last like 6 to 7 years, I've had moments where I needed to reevaluate, and that just happened a few months ago. That am I being honest with who I am, with what I need? How can I teach people about self-love and self-acceptance if I'm not accepting that, for example, I cannot do video channelings anymore? I love it. I love the response I get from people. I love being with people, but my body cannot take it right now. So I need to radically accept that that's my authenticity right now. And I need to change what I need to change. And again, it's very scary, especially when you have already created a foundation and a lot of people that follow you and that, help you and that keep your business going as well, because that's the business that we have. But again, like what can you do? Like I can't live like that. I will not ever return to that point where I was in that low. I can't do that to myself because now I know I deserve love. I deserve abundance. I deserve. So just recently I had another moment where I needed to be 100% authentic with what I needed, with who I am. And again, you show it to people and they will respond, but their response is not up to me, right? I can only be who I am. I can only love you the way that you are. So I'll show you that it's safe to be with me, right? And thankfully, the response from people have been very positive as well because they also understand. So I believe that there is this new awakening happening for people, for Earth, where we're being asked, are you really being true to yourself? Are you honest? Are you authentic right now? And I think that authenticity is our straight connection directly to source because you are source expressing in a body. So when you are authentic, that's flow. That's you being 100% where you should be, doing what you should be doing. So yeah, that's a little bit of my journey.
It's such a powerful story. Like, I would love to see this story in a book, and I would probably read it again and again. And it resonates so deeply with the journey that I've had too. And when you talk about authenticity, I think the meaning that we give authenticity is important too, because authenticity can mean so many different things. Like, authenticity to me is our beingness, it is the love that we are. And in our beingness, we are everything and nothing. So that nothing is our beingness, but our beingness is also expressing in this form here on earth. And how are we allowing that love to express through us so freely? And when you were talking, I feel so grateful that you were true to yourself and that that was a huge leap of faith for you to sell everything, to quit your job, to move to another country and I mean, to start channeling and sharing that with other people, that's a huge leap of faith. And I want to acknowledge, I'm proud of you for doing that. I feel so grateful. Like, I was just thinking, if you had never done that, I mean, the whole family that you have created here and how you have attracted us together and the whole soul group that we have, I mean, there would be like a big hole in my life without you, without our family. and maybe we would have found ourselves in other ways, but I'm just so grateful to you for stepping out and for sharing and being your authentic self. I love your authentic self. I wouldn't want you to be anyone else for a moment. I love your witchy self. I love your intensity. And this is something, I'm a very intense person. I totally, I'm like an all or nothing type of person, and I'm all in when I choose to do something. And I think that intensity can kind of have a negative connotation, because I know like people react different to my energy. Even just being in a room, it's like people can have there's a fear that comes up, or there's a judgment that comes up, or a projection, or whatever it may be. It's none of my business, like you said. But I feel it nonetheless. And it's just, I want to like validate that feeling too. And that's something that I've really worked through too. And it's other beings that have reflected back to me, where like if I feel someone kind of pulling away, even soul family, it's just like, well, I'll say to them, like, I know I have an intensity, and I'll kind of like put it on that. And recently, just where are we in January? Just like just recently, I've had people say, I love your intensity. Like to me, intensity is your light. You are embodying so much of this light. And while that may be triggering to some people, or may have different reactions to other people, it serves such a valuable purpose. And to me, like knowing your energy too, and my own as well, we have a big emotional body, we have a big mental body, we're very open channels, we're very psychic. I mean, we're a big energy. So there's an intensity to that, and there's a light to that. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I love your intensity. And it's interesting to me. And it's funny because I just said that on the videos that I posted on TikTok yesterday, were almost those exact words. Like, what's the alternative? Like you've said before, like what you've shared to me, what's the alternative otherwise? Am I going to go through my whole life and not express what I'm passionate about, what lights up my soul? Like, that's not an alternative. Like, I wake up excited about talking to you, or sharing about the Galactics, or whatever lights me up from that day. It can be little moments, it can be big moments, whatever it is. But yeah, I just said those exact words almost, that what's important for me is following the guidance, speaking my truth from my heart, and how people receive that is really none of my business. And that's been a big journey for me, is really letting go of how other people perceive me. And while it's been a step-by-step journey, just like so many elements of the journey, it's been one of the most freeing things. And I feel like that is so closely tied into authenticity, because I was in that same place of just being this character that wasn't true to myself. I was hiding so many parts of me. And it is very depressing, like to be this person that you are not. Like, I knew I wasn't living my full potential. Other people's response is really none of my business. And really, the more I let go of that and really accept myself for who I am and my authentic self, and love all those parts of me, the more that that's reflected back to me. And it really surprises me how immediately that shifts, and how people not only find you, but they love you for who you are. And that makes the journey all worth it to me. Yeah,
I agree.
Powerful.
Completely. It's a beautiful journey. And I think that the process to get there is very unique to every person, so whoever is listening and I'm not an intense person at all, or that's not what I want to do, I don't want to just throw everything to the wind and change my life like that. Take your time, do the thing that you need to do for you. So just a little note for whoever is listening and they are not like us. Just, yeah, do things the way that you need to do. Again, it's authenticity is what you need, how do you support you? How do you create the space to be yourself? But also trust that your people will find you. If you're being yourself, that's also what I think, and you're pushing people away because you're being yourself, they are not your people. They shouldn't
Right.
be in your life. They shouldn't take space. They shouldn't, it's like, that's perfect. That's the universe showing you, just this is not where your energy is needed. This is not where it's going to be well received. And trusting that, and letting sometimes like your higher self, source, God, whatever you believe in, guide you with that, like you be yourself and the path just shows up, and you just go and it just flows. So yeah, I completely agree with what you said as well.
I love that. Yeah, that's so important too. And that brings back really honoring everybody's unique experience because, yeah, everybody does have a different energy and a different frequency. And it's so beautiful. Can you imagine if everybody was like as intense as we are, like
Oh my
all in?
God. No.
Very madness.
Yeah. That would be
Oh, but a
that
little
would be a
wild.
different planet.
And to me, you've talked a lot about stepping like into the unknown. And I feel like to me, the more I do that, the more comfortable I get with taking those leaps of faith and stepping into the unknown. And the more my mind kind of releases, like needing to know what's going to happen or like needing to know past the first step, and having everything laid out. And it's like we know the path is laid out, but the mind can want like every detail, like what the step is going to be when you just need to know step one. But every time I do really embrace that's where the magic happens, the magic of the unknown. And it just, the more I do that, the more I love it. Like, it's still like I have those fears come up and there's that like little bit of like, ooh, am I ready to do this? But it's nothing compared to what it used to be. Like, the more I do that, the more what felt like was out of my comfort zone before feels more like my comfort zone now. And the more I love that energy.
I love that too. And it's just to show how powerful we are, I think, as creators and how beautiful it is. Like the neuroplasticity of our brains as well. It's like you're creating the neural pathways that allows for, this new experience to be felt in a different way. So I love studying that. We can geek out with those things for hours.
You saw me. I put straight up when you said neuroplasticity. I love to geek out on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's perfect. Yeah, it's amazing how we designed our bodies, this whole human experience, and how much flow there is for us to really create and express in the ways that are in alignment for us and that are authentic to us. I think that's so beautiful. Like I can see why we designed reality this way. What was just coming to me as you were talking is presence, how deeply related presence is to authenticity. And there's so many ancient wisdom teachings and spiritual teachers who that's the heart of the teaching is presence. And for me, I know the more I come into the present moment, the more that I'm feeling into my authentic self and really embracing that and really letting go of what my mind may be coming up with or like living in the past or future, letting go of what other people think about me or projections or anything like that. And I feel like for me, like, and I know you relate to this too, is the whole embodiment journey, really being in our body, being on earth, and really loving our body and being in the present moment. And I know that's been a journey for both of us.
Yeah.
And where are you now with your embodiment practice, with your coming into the present moment? Are there any like tips or practices or anything that really stands out to you? Any like shifts or transformations related to presence and really the whole embodiment journey?
Yeah, this has been one of the most challenging things for me on this planet, because it was always so easy to detach, to dissociate. And I know that there's the neurodivergence here that plays a role with this. And again, I chose to be born with a brain like this for a reason, of course. That's the brain that could, let's say, encapsulate everything that I needed to experience outside of the human experience, right? So it's been the hardest thing for me to be present in my body, to like to be human, actually. Because for the longest time, especially the more that I would channel, the more I would remember myself as, I don't know, an Arcturian or a Pleiadian, and how much lighter the body is, how much easier manifestation is, etc., etc. So for a moment there, it was really hard to allow myself to just accept that, yes, I am human in this body, and there is so much value, so much beauty, so much strength, and so much mastery in being a human in a body, especially because it is a little heavier, than another experience, especially because there are more steps to manifest, etc., etc., So it's been the hardest most challenging thing for me was to embody, to bring this energy into my physical self. And someone or a being that really helped me with this was Mary Magdalene, and embodying her fractal, her essence in me. Again, the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I don't think anything else is going to be as hard as that, because she comes with radical acceptance and self-love, right? And she calls you out on it. She will, she will kind of like not make you, of course, because she can't, but she will keep bringing that up and bringing up the places in you, the things, the feelings in you that do not align with that self-love. So then you can reevaluate. So then you can look at them. So for me, this journey, the journey of embodiment has been like, I would create so many difficult and complex things and practices should be in my body because it was so hard. And whenever it is that I started feeling my energy basically descending into my physical body couldn't take it because it wasn't, let's say, the easiest way to say it is like updated, to receive that energy. So at the same time that it was challenging, I understand why it was challenging. The level of channeling that I started doing out of nowhere, just bringing that into the physical body was really traumatizing for the body, actually. So creating a balance and figuring out how and when and where and what are the things that I need to do to support my physical body, and then learning to love the physical body and learning to love the human experience and all the things that we can only do on earth, and bringing joy into those things and seeing life with a more loving, kind and respectful energy has been the journey, for me. So the practice now is just simplicity for me. Like I think that being present, sometimes we can think like, I need to do this meditation, I need to do this and that, and I need to go and hug a tree, and all those things are valid and helpful. But for me, it's this breath that I just took. I'm here, I'm with you, and everything is okay. So just the breath in this present moment and just honoring the experience exactly as it is what helped me embody, not wanting my experience to be something else, not wanting my body to be something else, not wanting this or that to be something else. It's just like it is what it is right now, and I'll do the best I can with what I have, like Yeshua says. That helped me. It's like, it's okay. My body can take it. I couldn't take it. My mind couldn't take it, but my body can, because I was born in this body and I brought the perfect body for this perfect moment right now. So that belief that my body couldn't take it was keeping me away from that embodiment, from bringing that energy in. So I think that I learned to actually ground for real in the past like year and a half, if so. Because it was completely like that was the most alien thing for me, was being human, like connecting and, going into the mothership and talking to my alien friends and all of that was so easy. It's like detaching or going into another lifetime where I could see life through Mary Magdalene's eyes or Isis' eyes. So easy. That was amazing. And it's so much fun also. But I am me, I am Fernanda today. I am in this body, so honoring that and allowing myself to just be who I am, and that's how I started actually feeling grounded and finding out that for me, it's this here, like there's a desk and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you and I'm fully in. And also that honoring of the authenticity, I think really helps, because I know I can be intense with you. I know I can shake my arms as the Italian that lives inside me, I know I can, like do the things. It's totally fine. And the people that will honor that will support it, and the people that don't, I have nothing to do with that. So I can stop overstretching my energy to meet someone else's and try to figure out what it is that they need, how they need it, so I can give it to them in the day that they need. That was really ungrounding for me. So when I stopped doing that and I started radically accepting, yes, I am human now. I am beyond the human. Of course, everybody is. But right now, this consciousness, this individuality is Fernanda, and she's having a human experience. So how can we help her? How can I help myself? And yeah, so I don't have any specific things I do. Sometimes I use sacred sexuality to ground depending on the level of energy that I want to bring into my body. Sometimes I will just look outside and I'll look at the sky and I'll see the trees and I will smell something, you know. I use my senses a lot because it's much easier to be present when I'm using, like, I'm holding a stone right now in my hand. It helps me, like, I'm feeling the texture and everything. So all the, again, those tiny little things that you do in the day to day, drinking enough water, eating enough nutrients, you know, treating your body as a temple, all those things unfortunately work. It would be much easier if it was something else, right? Like, oh, I'll just sit here and meditate. For me, it's not, because I feel like I'm constantly in a state of meditation. So it's, the hard part is being present, being here, you know, stepping both feet on the ground.
That's so resonant with my journey. And same thing. And it's been what you shared in your Patreon too, and what you've channeled is what helped me to really come into my body. And I think we were on that journey around the same time as well. And we kind of did that together as we do, soul family. But yeah, I know it was around that time as well that I was just in my body for the first time and like feeling a crystal or feeling a tree in a physical way. And I know we've talked about that. And it was just like I thought kind of eating food in a mental way or like an emotional way, like that was normal. Everybody did it. I didn't know that I was so out of my body because it was something I was so used to
Yeah.
since I was young. And yeah, the same thing happened to me back in I keep saying 2016, but it was 2015. Not that time matters too much. But when my higher self and Yeshua came to me as this big ball of light and a very galactic energy, like they were out as a star, and they came right up to me where they were just like arms reach away, and just in training with that frequency was very alien. And I was always very alien, but it activated a lot of alien DNA within me. And my body was like, what the crap is going on? Like, are we alien? Are we human? And you really helped me understand that journey a lot, because that was really quite a journey. And I feel like at that time on the planet, that was a newer frequency. Not a lot of people were experiencing the crafts and channeling the galactics. And I think we were doing that, but maybe more in a way where we wouldn't like necessarily call it that. And it wasn't as expansive as it is now. But that was a big turning point for me. And channeling the galactics and Yeshua, that feels so comfortable to me. It's really being in my body is what felt alien to me as well. And it was a journey, it was that step-by-step journey. And it again comes back to presence for me, and really honoring my needs and the needs of my body was a big
Yeah.
thing for me. And yeah, because I feel like a lot of times women especially are really conditioned to really people please and kind of just be nice and sacrifice our needs for others. And I was learning to really shift out of that energy and to really prioritize myself and just accept, like, I'm human. I have needs. Like, I'm allowed to have needs. And it's honoring, like, not only knowing my needs, but really honoring my needs and really meeting myself with what my body needs in that time. And it's still a journey for me. It's still something that I'm learning and expanding more into. But the more I do that, because my body, that's the foundation for what I'm channeling too. I'm sure there are more people out there who really resonate with shifting through the dimensions, like in a physical way, where the light body is so activated to do that. Our Merkaba is so, it's like it's ready. We're ready to travel interdimensionally. And I think some people are doing that, not even realizing that they're doing that, because it's been like so natural to do that. But it's so interesting that we can do that in a human body. And like when we see the Arcturians and the Pleiadians, they have their crafts, and whether it's like a crystal craft or very advanced technology craft, or they're traveling with their light body, with their Merkabas. A lot of times that's how I see them. And it's
Yeah.
so interesting, like how similar we are at the same time, and that they can travel that way as galactics and in other dimensions. And we can do that here with our human body. That's just amazing to me. That, I mean, how much our body has expanded within even the last like decade. It's
Yeah,
incredible. Our body
it is.
is allowing these activations, this frequency, this crystalline DNA that it's never been on the planet. From my understanding is it's never been on the planet, the energy that our body is bringing through. And like as I'm talking about this, I have so much reverence for my body, and I feel really such gratitude and really want to honor my body that much more for the role that it is playing here. Because there are times when I really like judge my body for having needs because it's slow, it's dense, like it needs a lot. You need to rest and you need to eat, like, you need sunshine and a ground and like all these things that you need, body. When like
So
in
high
the
maintenance. Yes.
yes. Yes, it really, yeah, it helps me really honor the needs that my body has. And it really comes back to that radical acceptance too. That's such a key for so many things. It's what Mary Magdalene brings through such a powerful energy, and you are such a powerful embodiment of her energy with a radical acceptance and the self-love and oh, and how that really radiates into so many, it's that foundation, like we've talked about, how it really every facet of life, when you pour that radical acceptance into and that self-love, it's so transformational, how it can really impact reality and others around you.
Something was calling my attention now in something that you said, and now it just escaped me, but I'll remember. It was something about the galactics and oh, this energy that is new to Earth, and I agree that it is. And we are the creators, let's say, of that energy, people like us, that we brought this energy through, like we received the download, right? And then we processed it in a physical way. And in so many instances, for a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about me and you, because I also know your journey very well. I'm talking about many other people that I've observed and other clients, how challenging it can be, to process that awakening of the DNA is what I'm going to call it, because it's something that we all had, but dormant, in our bodies. So we wake that up, and how challenging it can be, how painful it can be, how many different things could happen to your physical self. And for me, oh my God, so many literally like physical changes that I've had in my physical bodies, right? And
Yes.
even like the shine on the skin, I don't know if you have that as well. It's like when you are in the sun,
Sparkly
you
and
like, it's like
yeah.
Edward Cullen, that you, you know, it's crazy. So many like different aspects. Yes, it's like you can see the crystals like in your skin when you are in the sun and like different things. So it's like you said, it's so good to just take a moment and appreciate how beautiful our bodies are, how perfect and how masterful our bodies are. Because of course we were born here, I believe, with this agreement, right? Like I'm gonna be born and I'm gonna do it. It's like we can use my body to
All
do
of it.
that. Yes, all in. Over who volunteers, and we raise our hands.
Woo!
Hey, let's go. Yeah. But sometimes it can be discombobulating. It can change your whole life, and it changes your perspective on everything as well. So it's so easy to detach from your physical body and forget that it's coming through the body. And that's something that I learned with Mary Magdalene, especially with sacred sexuality, that life on this planet, or let's say the planet, not the universe, but everywhere where life is physical, life and creation and manifestation is coming through your physical body. For anything to be physical, it needs to come through your physical body. It needs to become something in your body so we can be born into the planet as something else. So even if you want to manifest a house, a car, or something, there's an aspect of it that it needs to be born from your physical self. Otherwise, how is it going to manifest, right? Because we don't have that type of manifestation that is plasmatic. Is that the word? That you use like plasma in that way with light and sound. We don't have it yet. We're getting there. So everything here is like basically I need to build it to have it. So every aspect of life, not just that, but the other like more esoteric things as well, like peace or love or compassion in a worldwide scale, it needs to come through your physical body before. So if you're not in contact with your physical body, if your physical body is not feeling loved and seen and safe, how can it do that? Because it's always in a fight or flight, right? So when the body is not feeling loved, immediately it feels threatened. It feels like, okay, there's something wrong happening here, so I need to protect you from this. So it's been, again, it's the most empowering journey I've been on, is remembering that my physical body is a master, and life on earth takes mastery. You know, it takes being a master to be alive on this planet. It doesn't matter where you feel that you are in your journey. It's always, it's not a place that people would come just for funsies, right? You come here with a purpose, with intention. So, and I love that about us humans, you know. And I connect with that a lot with I connect a lot with Galactics, of course, as you know, and they bring that all the time. How reverent they are of us on Earth, you know, how they admire humans, especially because of those things that are a little slower and a little can be a little bit more challenging, you know, for us than it was, let's say, in the Pleiades. So I wonder how you receive that from them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, that exact thing that you were gonna say. And that's exactly what I feel from their energy too, is that it's like the seasons. I live in a place where there are four seasons, and it's like if I were to experience the same, so I love summer, I love fall, but if I had that all year round, I may really want like the winter seasons and the beauty and the peace and the beauty of the snow, and then springtime and all the flowers come up. And to me, like that's kind of their energy and how we experienced when we were in other dimensions. It's like, okay, I'm light, I'm in this bliss energy, like this high frequency. Like, what is it going to be like to be on Earth? And of course, we know like this isn't our first like rodeo here. We've been here many times. And we
Yes.
have this purpose. And I feel like our purpose here, and this expresses in many ways, but I feel like we're here to play and create and have fun. And however, even when we have these other purposes, like that may be related to quote unquote healing, or, and I say healing because we all know that we're in our divine perfection. And you've been somebody that has taught that so beautifully and really helped me embody that and accept myself for my wholeness and the fullness that I am. But like, I can see why we chose to come to Earth too and experience something different. And I know a lot of times that's the energy that I feel for them, because when I'm down here as my human self and I'm talking to the galactics and I'm seeing their energy, I'm like, I want to be up there. Like I want to be flying through the cosmos. And I tap into their energy and it's just like pure love and peace and like ecstasy. And I'm just like, oh, like it just feels like home to me. And I can, at the same time, I can feel that here. And I am like in my human body, feeling that energy, anchoring that on earth. And it's like we've said many times, and like you've said, we have space for all of it. And it's just so interesting how like I can be human, but at the same time, I'm my multidimensional self. I'm interacting with my Arcturian self and my Palladian self and all these other dimensions. And like, I don't need to be one or the other. I don't need to be human. I don't need to be galactic. Like we can be it all, and we are. And I want to give a shout out to anybody, any of our listeners that have been the pioneers of allowing this galactic frequency on Earth, because it is not an easy journey. Like it, and I want to really acknowledge the courage that it takes and the mastery and the resilience that it takes to allow these frequencies into the body. And really, it's going to be, I feel, easier for people who are opening up more to the galactic frequency. It's still going to be an adjustment, but because we are all one, I mean, even our bodies, a lot of times people think that our bodies are separate, but when they take a very strong microscope, they can't even see the difference between our skin and the space around it. And our body is like 99.999 whatever percent space. But we think of our bodies as separate. And like it's not only our beingness where we are in this oneness, but there's not really a separation between our bodies either. So when one of us really anchors this galactic frequency on Earth and activates this DNA, it's kind of like this tipping point, which is a very like galactic thing to say, something that they use a lot too, where it's like more and more people are going to be able to really allow that experience of the galactics in and really play with them more, because I wouldn't want my reality to be any other way. And it's now that we've not only allowed that energy and activated that energy within us, but we're in our body, and how the difference that's making on Earth. Like, I feel like that's been a lot of my purpose now, to be in my body, because before, like seeing the light beings in their light bodies and seeing the galactics, that felt more real to me than my human experience. And it took some
Mhm.
time just because it's that frequency of like love and oneness, and like human reality can feel kind of dense. And it took time for me to everything that you were just talking about, really honoring the human body and honoring the earth experience and seeing myself as human. Like I may be very galactic, but I'm also human, and I'm here for a reason. And I chose to be in this incarnation for a reason. And like, I love my earth experience now. There were times where like earlier on my journey, I would be talking to my galactic family and like seeing their crafts, like, take me, like, I almost said my home planet. That sounded really kind of out there. But honestly, that's how I felt. Like, you're here. Why can't you just like take me for a ride? Like, take me through a spin throughout the
Yeah,
galaxy.
just a
You're
little bit. You don't need to
oh,
take me forever. Just a week so I can rest, right? Just a little bit. Totally
oh my.
understand that.
And to be in this place now, like where I love my earth experience, because where else? Like, we can be here and we can like play with the trees and pet our animals and in a physical way to like hug one another and to taste delicious food and all the things that
Yeah.
Gaia is here, like creating this magical space for us to experience all these things in a physical way. And the journey may not have been easy to get here, but I'm really glad we made it through and that we're here in this
Yes.
to be all that we are and to really enjoy ourselves, because for me it's been like really embracing pleasure and allowing that
Yeah.
into my reality and seeing myself as worthy of pleasure is what's helped me really to appreciate my body more and to come back into the present moment as well.
Yeah,
I don't remember all of what I
definitely.
just said, but I
No, you just said so many great things. And one thing is really calling to me because it's making me think of like a message I received perhaps like a year ago or even like a little before, like before we turned from 2023 to 2024, um, how life would start getting easier for people that have been initiated or have been on the awakening process for a while, right? That we would start feeling much more ease, much more, like things will flow much easier. You will feel more centered. And at that time, it felt like a crazy thing to channel because it was not easy,
remember. Yeah.
And we would be like, okay, but when? It's like, what do you mean? Like that's gonna happen, And especially like Yeshua also always has a hopeful thing about
Yeah.
him and the way that he brings information through. He loves Earth so much and he loves humans so much that that's his bias, I think, So he's always so positive about things and he loves everything. And I love that for him and I love that about him. But sometimes the human experience is not exactly that. And I saw that a lot with my clients that I would say, calm down, just keep going, just keep doing your thing. It's going to get easier. At some point, it's going to get easier because we basically, I'm going to say like light workers, star seeds, however you resonate. Like I have something else that is not just fully human. And I've been on my awakening journey for a while now. That a while can be a month or a couple of years or a decade or 2 decades. That we have opened the door for this energy to come in. And the door was our bodies, our collective bodies, that we've allowed the energy in, we've allowed ourselves to accept it, to say, yes, it's okay, we'll do this. And we've grounded that energy into earth. So we did a lot of heavy lifting, in the past few decades on the planet, but I'm going to say especially the last 15 years when we had that energy of Capricorn in Pluto,
Oh,
just looking at the our paradigms and the things that we've created as tools and taking a look at astrology, which I absolutely love. That energy was intense in a whole different way, but I felt at least heavier, more dense, more like we're taking steps in the mud, like I'm on my knees in the mud, and every step it takes such energy to take, right? And the energy of Aquarius is the opposite of that because Aquarius is air. It wants to move, it wants to flow, it wants to create, it wants to be fast, it wants to be different, it wants to be
love that.
authentic.
Yeah.
right? It wants to be itself, and it wants to riot even, he wants to create something new that no one has ever seen. And whenever I think of Aquarius, I have a weird association in my head. You yes. And I think of Phoebe Buffay from Friends, and I think of Luna Lovegood
Oh,
in Harry Potter.
yes.
That
Yeah.
Luna energy, that is Aquarius. That is like she is herself. She is weird and she does not care. So it's much more easy for us because Pluto is a planet of collective energy, right? Collective transformation. So as a collective, it's much easier for people like us to be under that scope of energy, I think, which is yes, we are weird, like I am. I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for everybody else that is listening, but I am weird. And I love that about me. I love that about us. I love that about our soul family, that we are diverse and that we are authentic, and that, yes, we have some things that other people would consider completely crazy, and beliefs and stuff like that. So I think that that's where it comes from, that we've received that message many times, that at some point you will start feeling this heaviness will lift from you. And it felt like that time would never arrive. And I think that we are in it right now. And
Yeah.
we can see that reflected in the world. And sometimes it looks like chaos, I'll
Yeah.
say. But at the same time, every time that I see that, especially like people coming together, people showing each other that we are connected, that we are a community, that we are a collective. Oh my God, I love that so much, And I think that for people like us, like we've been on this journey for a while, we've done the work, we've done the alchemy, we are kind of picking up the fruits a little bit. And I love
Right.
that for us. And I intend that for us. And I want that to keep happening in even easier and more beautiful ways. And I wish that for you. I wish that for me. And I wish that for everybody that is listening, that the path gets easier for us, because it's been, like you said, bringing that energy through and grounding that into the planet has been a challenge. So I still believe that the master that I got now is starting to make more sense. And I believe it will get easier and easier, especially if we can observe the collective transformation through eyes of compassion and love and divinity, right? If we don't go into a place of fear, if we can at least detach enough from the reactions that we want to have, and we can neutrally look at things, neutrally look at people, what's being said, what's being done. For me, again, and it might be my bias because I also love Earth. I would choose to incarnate here 1,000 times as I have. It's beautiful. The way that things are coming together, the way that things, I can only see hope and beauty and growth and evolution in a way that we have never seen in any other planet. It's not just Earth. The jump that Earth is taking, and you can see that I'm very passionate about this. The jump that Earth is taking,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's never been seen in this universe before. So we have so much support. We have
Yeah.
thousands of beings around, just, helping us out in every way that they can. And we have grounded this energy here as well. We are thousands and thousands now. We were before, in Yeshua's days, only a few hundred that were bringing this energy through, but we keep multiplying this energy on the planet. So I just absolutely love, yeah, we got this. I love this for us as a collective. So I just wanted to say that at least through what I channeled, through what I feel, and through observing timelines, there is so much hope, there is so much beauty yet to come. And if it's getting harder, if it's getting harder to see that, or if fear keeps coming in, try to find a neutral position where you can observe things for what they are, instead of
Right.
what the fear of what they could be is.
Exactly. That's exactly. Yes, that resonates so much. Neutrality for me has been huge too. And again, for me, it's been about not knowing what another soul's journey is, because I feel like, and the expansion that is in that experience for them, because I feel like if people knew like my story and my journey, and our soul family does, like that would look chaotic. That could have been like, there could have been fear when I was telling my story. There could have been whatever reactions or emotions that came up. But our family, they saw my divinity, they saw my power, and we can do that for the collective as well. And for me, it's about like seeing through. To me, it's like, I love physical reality and I'm going to be here and I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to be all in as much as I can. But I'm also going to be not attached to it because, in a way, it is like a passing dream. And I'm going to let things come and I'm going to let things go. And to be in that place of neutrality is so powerful because we know like what we focus on and the meaning that we give it, that meaning is so important. That's what expands. So if I want to create more love in my life, more connection, more abundance, whatever it is, I'm going to focus on those things. It may not even be in my reality. It may be in a movie. It may be in a song that I hear, but whatever I see, I focus on that. I acknowledge it. I appreciate it. And I know that I'm expanding more of that. And I think it's so important because, and it's not about really denying like the chaos,
Mm-hmm.
the hardship that happens in physical reality, because it's not like turning a blind eye to it and not being real that these things happen, but there's a way to acknowledge it and to be in that space of compassion and understanding and also honor the divinity within each person and to know that in every moment they are in their power and they are God expressing, and we are all so supported along the journey. And that's been huge for me, is knowing that I don't need to be like fixing the world and like saving the world.
Yep.
That's kind of gone along with like not sacrificing my needs and like learning to prioritize myself. And it's really, and that's something our community has helped me with, is really seeing the divine in every person. Because when you see God in everybody, like God doesn't need to be saved. God is pure power. God is pure love, pure divinity, and knowing that everybody has that support system around them is really what's helped me really come into that place of detachment too. And I can see why the Galactics are coming, why they're playing with us more now, because people are more
Mm-hmm.
than they ever have been to really experiencing reality in a new way. It's just interesting. Like when I heard that story, like it's gonna get easier, my mind was like, really? Like it was at that time where it had been like
Uh-huh.
years. It had been like, and I remember Bashar, I watched a video from Bashar some time ago where he was talking about these are new frequencies to the body. And when the body, this may sound kind of
Wow.
heavy, but he's saying that when the body allows these new frequencies in to our DNA, the body thinks it's going to die because it's not
Yep.
a frequency that the body has had. And I know that's something
Mm-hmm.
that we've shared. And when we shared, like, are you experiencing this? Are you experiencing this? And it's just like knowing that you're not alone in that journey too. And that's just another reason why I feel like community is so important. But I love that. I think it's so important to really know that there is so much to be hopeful for and that it does get easier, because there are times on the spiritual journey where it's really like, is it going to get easier? And you're in that space where you're just like kind of following blindly and taking those steps and just trusting that guidance, like year after year after year, like wondering, am I ever going to see the fruits of this? And to be in that place. And I would encourage anybody, if you are in that space, just like keep going. And I know it can seem like there's so much more I want to like give to that, then, but that's what else can I say other than to provide that encouragement and to like be in that energy now where it's like, I know that it's going to get easier. I feel like it's just going to keep expanding from here because all that we've created energetically, all this, the DNA activations and all this powerful alchemy that we've done. And you are a master of, I mean, so many of the channelings that you share. That's like the heart of it to me is sacred sexuality and mastery of the mind and mastery of emotions and these DNA activations and self-love. And there's so much power in that with the alchemy that you channel, and that not only that you channel, but that you embrace and you embody and you serve as a beacon for not only our community, but for the collective as well. And I feel that's so, so powerful. And it's just going to keep expanding from here. I'm just so excited to be on Earth at this time.
Me too,
Yeah.
and I agree. I think it will only expand, and the frequency will keep rising and rising, and that's the plan. And I believe in us. I believe we can do it, and I see that in you as well. I see that in everybody, really, but especially people, of course, you have more contact with, and the people you can observe the journey. I can see that mastery in you as well. And I can see that in every person that I've ever had the pleasure to connect with, to have a conversation with. And being in this space, I think, of seeing the divine in another is so, I don't know, gratifying. It's so beautiful. It makes the journey worth it. It makes it's fun, and again, it's so helpful as well. So yeah, let's keep connecting, let's keep creating with this ease. And for other people listening, if it's too not easy, don't give up. Like you said, you can do it. You are a master. You are so strong. You are so resilient. You are so powerful. You are amazing and you're beautiful, and you deserve that ease. And I think that that's a pivotal thing as well. That
Yeah.
accepting that, yes, we deserve life to be easier. And again, I say easier, but of course there's challenges all the time. That life happens, right? Like there are day-to-day things that that happen, and that bring anxiety, that bring fear, that bring intrusive thoughts, and that's just part of being human. I think what we're talking about here is that foundation is steady, that foundation is ease. So whenever it is that you're grounded, that you feel present, that you feel aligned, you feel that ease, right? And of course, circumstances, people, it happens sometimes that it takes you out of that place, but the journey returning to that place is faster each time when you keep practicing what works for you, when you keep, allowing again that neural pathway to keep being reinforced every time. So keep reinforcing that. It would be my message, my final message to people, that
I
you're
love
doing great and you got this and we got this. And again, I think the world is just more beautiful every day. And I'm so grateful to Gaia for allowing us to be a part of her journey as well.
Oh, I love that. That was so beautifully said. Fernanda, I am so grateful for you in so many ways. I could go on and on about how grateful
Same.
I am for the role that you played on my journey. And so many members of the soul family. It's just, we are such a beautiful group. And it's amazing to really see the journey and just how powerful we are, because you see people at the beginning of their journey and where they are now. And I've loved them every step of the way, but to see people really come into their power and their authenticity and to express that more and more fully, and how we've loved each other every step of the way. And that energy, because I know not everybody has that place where they're in contact with their soul family, but
Yeah.
that energy, it's there. And it's really so much of what we shared is being your authentic self, and how when you do that, you're sending out that clear frequency for your soul family to find you. And that's so much of the blessing of this earth experience for me. Like, circumstances, they matter, but for me, the most valuable thing for me is connection. And I'm just so grateful for all the connections that we've had here. And I think, yeah, Fernanda, that was the perfect closing message that you just shared. And I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to play and create with you in this way. And I couldn't think of a better being to start the podcast with. And I look forward to playing and creating with you more. And I'm so excited to see where this journey continues to take us. So beautiful. So thank
Yes, I'm so excited as well to see, and so excited to be here and to see your podcast just, create beautiful, amazing things. And I'm sure that that's going to happen because you have such a beautiful, loving energy. And I think a lot of people should, listen to you and
you.
to receive these codes that you send just with your voice, just with your presence. So thank you for doing this, thank you for raising the frequency of the planet and the collective through your gifts, through your presence. And it's just so beautiful. And I'm so honored to be here. So thank you very much.
Oh my goodness. So you're going to close with making me cry. Is that? That's okay.
At least once. Come on.
I appreciate it. It went straight to my heart like you do. Thank you, Fernanda.
Thank
And
you.
that's
I
just
love
all
you.
exactly how I feel about you. And I love you so much. Thank you for being
Thank you. I love you. Thank you for having me.